So, I finally got around to reading The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And let me just say, this is one of those books that makes you stop and think about how the world really works, not how we wish it worked. It's not a feel good motivational book. In fact, some people call it manipulative or even ruthless. But here's the truth, it's brutally honest about human behavior, influence, and the hidden rules that govern power dynamics in everyday life. Whether you're in business, politics, or just navigating social situations, this book gives you insights that are hard to ignore. Now, the interesting thing about this book is that it doesn't read like a traditional self help guide. Instead, it's like a manual. Green lays out 48 distinct laws of power, and each one comes with stories from history, real life examples, and cautionary tales. You're not going to agree with every single law, but that's kind of the point. He's not saying you should follow them all blindly. He's showing you how power has worked for centuries, and it's up to you how you want to use that information. One of the first laws that really stood out to me was never outshine the master. Basically, if you're working with someone above you, maybe a boss, a mentor, or even just someone who craves recognition, you never want to make them feel overshadowed. If they feel threatened by you, they'll undermine you. The safer move is to make them look good while slowly building your own influence. It sounds a little sneaky, but think about it. How many times have talented people gotten shut down at work just because they made their boss look insecure? Green points out that it's not always about being the smartest in the room. It's about making sure other people don't feel like you're smarter. Another law that stuck with me was conceal your intentions. And no, it doesn't mean you should be dishonest. It's more about not laying all your cards on the table too soon. People often sabotage themselves by being overly transparent with their plans. The truth is, mystery creates intrigue. If everyone knows your next move, they can block you. But if you keep your plans a little unpredictable, you keep the upper hand. There's also court attention at all costs. This one made me think about social media today. Green wrote this book before Instagram and TikTok took over, but the principle still applies. Visibility is power. If nobody notices you, you can't influence anyone. He argues that it's better to be controversial or even disliked than to be ignored. Because in the game of power, obscurity is the real enemy. Of course, some of the laws are a little darker. Take crush your enemy totally. The idea is that leaving an enemy with even a little bit of strength means they can come back and take revenge later. History has shown this over and over. Unfinished conflicts often lead to bigger battles down the road. Now, this might sound intense, but Green's point is that when you decide to end a conflict, you need to end it decisively. Half measures just drag things out. Then there's use absence to increase respect. This one is fascinating because it goes against our instinct to always be present. The more accessible you are, the more people take you for granted. But if you strategically step back, you create scarcity, and suddenly people value your presence more. It's the same reason celebrities sometimes disappear for a while and then return with a massive buzz. Distance, when used wisely, can actually create more influence. Now, you don't have to agree with every single law here. Some of them feel ruthless, like they're encouraging manipulation. But when you think about it, a lot of these principles are already being used by people around us, at work, in politics, even in friendships. Green is just exposing the game that's already being played. And honestly, knowing these rules doesn't mean you have to play dirty. It just means you're not naive about how people operate. One of the things I appreciated is how the book pulls stories from history. Kings, generals, politicians, and even artists who used these laws either to rise to power or to crash and burn by ignoring them. It makes the book entertaining because you're not just reading theory, you're seeing how these strategies played out in real life. But let me be real with you. This isn't a feel-good book. It doesn't tell you to be nice, to be humble, or to always play fair. In fact, it'll probably make you uncomfortable at times because it shows how people really think when power is at stake. For some readers, that feels empowering because it lifts the curtain on human behavior. For others, it feels too cynical. Personally, I think it's valuable to at least be aware of these dynamics. Even if you don't want to use every law, you'll start to notice when they're being used on you. So, what's my honest take? I think The 48 Laws of Power is one of those books you don't just read once and put away. It's a book you come back to whenever you're dealing with tricky social situations, office politics, or even negotiating something important. You don't have to treat it as gospel, but it's like having a set of tools. You may not use all of them, but knowing they exist gives you an advantage. At the end of the day, power is part of life. Whether you like it or not, people are always maneuvering, always positioning, always trying to get ahead. You can ignore it, set up how, or you can understand it. And if you understand it, you get to decide how you want to play the game. That's what makes this book so impactful. It's not about telling you to be ruthless. It's about making sure you're not blindsided by people who already are.